Let's eat. Welcome in, everyone. Aloha. Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast. All across every single social media platform. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Side Hustle 216. Kyle Cornell, AA. Anthony Alfred with you as always. Partner, how we doing this week?
Feeling pretty good. A lot of wrestling to get to, and Halloween season. It's crazy. Have you witnessed or seen any Halloween like wrestlers? I guess dressed in Halloween form, or regular people dressed like wrestlers.
I always assume like Pumpkinhead just like wrestled on the side.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
I thought like that's
felt
actually your full-time job.
I saw that and I was like independent wrestler. I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Not like out of like I'm walking down the aisle at Walmart and like I see a Randy Savage walk by. I haven't seen that yet, but I mean, the day is still young. I don't know.
We had basically a Halloween show when we were at West Six. I mean, we saw Macho Man. We saw, of course, Pumpkinhead, who set it all up for us. And by the way, Pumpkinhead, we're standing behind you with the whole nonsense that's going on with the crime. We can't handle the crime that's going on in the city of Cleveland.
Yeah, but we could sue the Browns.
But we could sue the Cleveland Browns, about the stadium.
For wanting to go to a place that's going to look a lot better. Did you see the mock-ups of the dome at Burke?
I saw the pictures, yes.
Oh, my fucking... Yeah, good luck getting that.
Man, I saw the pictures.
You think Burke Park's expensive? Just wait.
I was telling my buddies, I'm like, here's what's going to happen. The stadium itself, they're going to move to Brook Park.
Yeah.
But they're going to spend the next 10, 15, 20 years figuring out who's going to pay for the current stadium to be torn down. So you're not going to get any development that they're pushing for, because Justin Bibb is not going to be the mayor in a couple of years. He's going to run for state office. And then the next set of politicians, they're going to try to figure out, oh, hey, Browns, you should pay to tear down the stadium. And the Hassels will say, no, you pay for it. And the Hassels will be gone completely. It's just, the whole situation is a mess.
Listen, 2035 is going to be a crazy year.
Man. And by that point, maybe they'll tear down the airport over there. So it's
the 12 planes a year that come in are going to be really upset about that.
Hey, Cleveland Clinic saw something fly out of there.
Once.
Once, twice, 3 times a lady. I don't know. It's just...
You could expand Hopkins if you really needed to. Whatever. I don't fucking know.
To answer your question, things have been great.
That's good.
And again, a lot of quality wrestling. So much to, really... Oh! I didn't tell you. Did you see Trick Williams' music video follow-up?
He responded?
So we played last week.
Oh shit.
We don't have the video. I'm sorry, I didn't grab it. But we played the Ethan Page video on the show last week.
Which is great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Trick, he better, if he's coming back, it needed to be good. Because
Trick had Devon Detley in the video. I don't know if you know Kurt Franklin. Kurt Franklin, he's one of the, if you talk about gospel music, he is Mount Rushmore as far as gospel music artist. And he did a song back in the 90s called Stomp. It's probably the #1 gospel music song of all time, commercially. And Trick Williams, with the assistance of Devon Dudley, who played his preacher role from back in the day, the brief moment with Deacon Batista, recreated that song in response to Ethan Page leading into their championship match.
That explains why Bubba's on his corner now. But
it does. Yeah,
there you go.
I mean,
wow,
man.
Okay,
so watch that afterwards. It's fantastic. But yeah, a lot of stuff to consume, and we're gonna get to. We got a ton to get to. You see the rundown. I love doing this because this honestly helps me stay on track. So I do this more for me than for anybody else.
Is Solo finding himself? He's been lost for so long.
I know.
Where did you go, Solo?
I just realized something. I forgot to put the slide in for the second one, which I'm actually most excited about. and it's the Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Is he underappreciated?
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a tweet I wanted to pull, but I was short of time.
That's fine. You can just read it. We'll give credit.
But, yeah, that's huge because we'll talk about that in a second. I'm pissed about the third one. Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest. You got to talk me off the ledge on that one.
Okay, we can do that.
Samantha Irvin.
And then you're fully going to jump off of the fourth one.
Well, yeah. It's... People leave jobs. It's okay to leave a job.
I think the fact that we know more now about her situation and what she wanted, I think it makes a lot more sense.
It makes a ton of sense.
And honestly, we'll dive in deeper, but don't expect her to show up in AEW.
No.
Honestly. No. I don't think it's about wrestling. I think if it was about wrestling, she'd still be working for WWE.
So. In the role that she wants to do.
Yeah.
So...
We'll talk more about that.
You'll talk about it. Finally, after 84 long years.
Speaking of fucking Deacon Batista and
Kyle Cornell
Praise
will
Jesus.
attempt to fix Austin Theory.
He needs it. He definitely needs it.
And we'll get to rapid fire. I am so excited about Motor City Machine Guns. So I watched all of SmackDown. Thankfully, it takes an hour to get through. And just
Raw too now. Shit, they're both quick.
Man, I know. Motor City Machine Guns are phenomenal. We all knew that, but to see them in the WWE world...
We'll have an interesting take on that.
Yeah, the whole story and then the introduction of the Bloodline. By the way, I'm not kidding on that last line I put there. Solo, as a character...
Oh, boy.
Is he starting to find himself... There are hints. Starting to find himself a little bit. Let's get to our BA Sweetie Sweet Moment of the Week. Brought to you by our friends at BA Sweeties. And there we go. I guess we don't even have to watch SmackDown this Friday. We are not going to give away spoilers.
Well, you won't. I probably will.
For this whatever. But
they fucking did.
But they did. Okay, if I didn't know that this episode, that SmackDown was going to be taped, how do we arrive from Jey Uso is going to see Roman on Friday to, they're in a freaking match?
So in the picture, why does Jacob look like, and then Jimmy's like, are we sure? Like, what the fuck? Look at
yeah.
Look at Jacob. Like, look at him over there, right? Mm-hmm. Right there. He looks like the one that goes, he looks like that. And then Jimmy up top just like, bro, I don't think we should be here right now. I don't know how we are we doing this or
the actual sweet moment of this though was the setup from Monday.
Dude, it reminds you of like peak Bloodline. You have to watch the entire show. There's multiple layers that play out over the show. They're dominating the show because everything else going on is like fun little filler in between the main story, which is like this. Mm-hmm. And from the beginning where we saw Jimmy and Jay hug last Friday on SmackDown, and it's a whole like, yeah, okay, they're back together. Then Jay like opened up Raw like, nah, man, we got to talk about some shit real quick though.
Yeah.
I love you, but like, we got to talk about some stuff. And going through the, I did all this by myself. I don't need to do this, but y'all family, and being your brother is more important than being Intercontinental Champion, than being, on my own all the time. But I don't want to go back to the way things were. Hey, bravo for being an actual person and not being like, yeah, family, fuck it, let's go. Like, because that's Vince booking. That's well, they're family, they have to get back together and just do it. They're like, no, like,
damn it,
fucking make it happen. Like, they actually went through and had a reasonable reaction to like, of course, you're my brother, I love you, I want to be there for you. But we ain't doing that shit again. Because I ain't going to get shit on because I'm fucking out. Because I proved to you guys I don't need this. Jimmy has proved he can operate as a solo act, at least from a standpoint of character building and being able to stand on his own 2 feet. Is he going to win a bunch of matches? Probably not. But he's got the foundation of like, hey, if Jimmy had to be by himself, it could work. He could be a mid-card kind of guy.
A little bit more seriousness from Jimmy Uso.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted from last week.
Being able to bring it.
Yeah. Can you bring the drama side of things? I'm glad you pointed out, like, you had to watch because I actually, during the commercial, I actually missed the Usos locker room segment live. because I flipped over to Monday Night Football during a commercial break. Cavs game. They beat the Knicks. What up, Cavs? 4-0, by the way.
As of this recording.
4-0. But I didn't know about the locker room thing until after the show.
Because just Jimmy was like, "Hey, I'll go talk to Sami."
Yeah. So I saw the face-off. Of course, the big talking point. By the way, I felt it. I felt it when Jey told Sami, "You're not family." That hurt. That hurt.
It's like, yeah, technically you're right, but also Sami was there for you when nobody else was there.
So the way I took it, because I missed the locker room segment afterward where Jey regretted that statement, the way I took it, it went straight to, Sami's talking to Solo.
Yeah.
Jimmy's like, told you, and that's that.
So to be fair, Jimmy and Sami never had a moment. Jimmy was looking for Sami.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he saw, conveniently, Sami talking to Solo when Solo was on his way out, which, again, it's built in to be a drama. It's built in. This is Days of Our Lives. This is, all that shit, right? Where it's like, hey, we're talking to the enemy, man. You said you weren't picking sides. Whereas Sami could have just been leaving the arena and Solo pulled by. Hey, yo, Sami. What's up, man? Yeah.
Which, if you took an educated guess, that's probably exactly what happened.
And they'll have to go through it, but they're going to go through it in front of us. You're going to see it, and it's not going to be how'd they get to this point or whatever it is. There's going to be some issues. I imagine with this match now being made that Sami will factor in somehow. Sami has proven he will go to Saudi Arabia now, so how about that? Things are, I guess, a little bit better from that perspective for him. So, I mean, what's going to happen? Maybe we have to actually fucking watch Crown Jewel.
And then the point I was going to make real quick. So, because I missed the locker room part, I didn't even realize, Jey, and maybe you see it a little bit, Jey really regretted that statement. He didn't want to believe
in the moment when he said it to him. You could tell it was kind of like...
You could tell a little bit, but that locker room segment in the back really solidified. Like, he didn't really want to believe that. So the way I took it from not seeing that was, yeah. They were both pretty much locked in on the same page. Going back after the shows on social media and watching a locker room segment and watching that take place in between, like, okay, that's different. It's a different spin.
It really feels like they'll be able to get quicker to Jimmy and Jey both being with Sami. I want to see how Roman ties in.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the one, and it's going to be a topic that comes up in a little bit, but he's the one piece that is like the son of the bloodline.
Yeah.
But also that when you're the son, you get a lot of the blame.
Yes, you do.
You get a lot of the attention. You get a lot of the spotlight. You get a lot, obviously, you're a literal spotlight. And you get a lot of the, when it's going good, he's the leader, man. When it's going bad, what the fuck's going on? And, like, he is responsible for a lot of issues with those three. And especially with Sami, because he was the one that Sami turned on. Sami didn't turn on the Usos. Sami turned on Roman.
So let's put ourselves in Jey's shoes for a second. So when Sami asked, so it's just like, this is what it is now? Everything's good now? You're going to go back to SmackDown and beat the blood? What would you, put yourself in the storyline, what would you say if you were Kyle, Jey Uso, Cornell? After you did that, yes. Matter of fact, save your response until after the BA Sweetie spot here, because I think that right there, that thesis is the entire nucleus of this entire story. Sami brought up valid points. All of it was very valid. We'll talk more about that in a second. Plus Roman Reigns. Kyle has a good point. We're going to bring it up. Is Roman Reigns underappreciated? There's a tweet that I want to pull up here in just a little bit. If you are underappreciative of BA Sweeties, what is wrong with you?
I'm going to take this microphone off the stand and beat you over the head with it.
What is wrong with you? You better go there right now.
Until the candy starts coming out.
It is the holiday season. It is Halloween season. And here's the thing. I know Halloween is technically Thursday. I don't know. Are we releasing this? Whatever.
I mean, you're the listen. You're fucking this dog. I'm just holding its head.
This weekend,
The Jim Cornette special for you.
I know. That was pretty spot
It's so
on.
stupid.
Jim
though.
Cornette, man. He was like, "What does pro wrestling mean?" It's like you take the big guy, you take the little guy, they fight on the street. And, you know, the big guy beats up on the little guy, but the little guy shows a little bit of fight. So then the next time you walk around the corner down the street, you get the fire hydrants and whatnot. You see the small guy, you have a little bit of a chance. You want to pay $5 or $10 to see that small guy beat the big guys behind. That is the science of pro wrestling. Wow, okay.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
If you strip it all the way down.
Strip it down.
Like you're at the Crazy Horse on Brook Park.
But strip down, of course, BA Sweeties. In fact, if you want to show your support during the election season,
almost time.
It's about that time.
Next week.
They have the candy bars. They have the chocolate bars. You can get the Donald. You can get the.
You can get the Kamala.
You can get the Kamala.
You can get the Peter Pez.
You can get either that. You get it in candy form. They also have pop forms too.
Oops.
So you can get the red bottle or the blue bottle.
You can get the red bottoms. You can get the. Sorry.
Yeah. You get it.
Oh shit.
That's the address: 677 Brook Park Road in Cleveland, Ohio. Interstate 480, Ridge Road exit. Make a left on Brook Park Road, and you will make a left when you see the giant lollipop. Now, BA Sweeties is not a place where you can cast your vote for the election, but it is a place where you can pick candy or pop to have some fun and support whoever you like to support, or not support whoever you want to support. There was some people on remote that wanted to make their case known for who they wanted yours truly to vote for.
The last time we saw on social media, I think the Donald was ahead in sales, like 67%.
That is true. Donald Trump is ahead in the sales. So
what can I say? People like chocolate. It's so good.
So
yummy in my tummy.
If you're a Kamala Harris fan, might want to go in there and
even the odds a little
your
bit.
Candidate. Get your chocolate.
Go on, go inside and eat Kamala.
This is so much fun. Yet so much of a train wreck. Let's just show the spot, and maybe you
It's
can.
a great movie with John Cena.
It is a great movie. It is a great
LeBron's
movie.
in it.
You want to put LeBron and Donald in the same? I don't know if they'll support. Let's play the spot for you.
Largest candy store in North America. Pete's so nice, he almost played it twice. It's fantastic. Make sure you guys go there. Well, the best part about Halloween season is, too, Double A mentioned before, is the days after Halloween season. If you're looking to get some extra candy, that kind of stuff, afterwards, the deals, the sales, BA Sweetie has them too, obviously, on top of getting ready for all the Christmas candy, different decorations, like that kind of stuff as well. Because at this point, candy is turning into decorations. You'd be surprised.
Of course, always has to be.
So go to BA Sweetie, enjoy it. Take the journey yourself and walk around, get lost in that warehouse for a little while. Take the family, take yourself, take your pet. I think you can do that as long as they're certified.
It smells great too.
It
smells
does.
great, and of course, you get 30 different flavors as far as pop too. So definitely try that out. It's never a bad time to get a milkshake either. Ice cream. It's actually pretty warm this week.
80 degrees on Wednesday. Yeah,
shockingly warm. But
mid 70s on Hey, you know what? It's the perfect time to go get some ice cream too. The soda shop up front's beautiful. It's great. It's so good. It's beautiful. It's great.
Let me go back to this slide because yours truly forgot to put in the Roman Reigns slide. So.
It's okay. We forgave you, Double A. You're so talented. One of the most talented people I've ever seen. So good. Go ahead. Read what you're going to read. Read it. Yes.
You know what?
I agree.
No, before I read it, let me ask let's go back to the question I addressed. So Sami was putting up great points. He's like, so you went, you know, I'm on your side. I'm on Jey Uso's side. So again, putting yourself in Jey Uso's shoes. I'm Sami. Sami says, you did all this. You went a whole year, 2 years by yourself. You won the Intercontinental Championship. You did all these things. And now all of a sudden, Jimmy is back. Roman's back. You're just going to go back on Friday. I guess you're just back on SmackDown and you're just going to squash the beef and that's it. It's done. It's over. That's it. What would you say in that moment if you were confronted in storyline terms by Sami Zayn?
I think Jey actually handled it pretty well because he brought up, I think Solo is worse. And Sami obviously had to retort, lesser of two evils? I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But, Roman wasn't always a bad guy.
Really?
He wasn't. Technically.
When?
What do you mean when? His entire career before he became the tribal chief, he wasn't a bad guy, technically.
But since the tribal chief...
Well, no shit, Double A, but I'm saying, you asked when, I'm like, yeah.
I'm playing Sami. I'm frustrating you on purpose.
Sami, you were around when he was the big dog and all that stuff, and he has more. They're there. And he let all this blind him. And I'm not trying to defend him. We got some shit we got to talk about. I'm not just going to walk over there and just be his bitch. That ain't happening again.
Okay.
That ain't happening again.
Okay.
So, that ain't happening. Yeet. Ever again. Yeet.
I'm curious. Now, I think it's going to be interesting because that's going to be the whole thesis.
I think he's on the money, though, with Solo being worse because of who he brought in.
Yep.
Roman always listened to Paul Heyman. He always had that person on his hip. He always, there was always a reason. We talked about Solo kind of essentially just firing from the hip.
Uh-huh.
Fucking convicted felon. Fucking Tongans. He's just people aren't even technically family, the Tongans.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually supposed to be the chief rival of the Samoans.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we didn't go get these motherfuckers, because they're not technically a part of our family.
And
Pacific Islander, yes, family.
And remember, of the Temu bloodline and whatever, Solo is the one, as you mentioned last week.
He's OG.
Is an OG.
Yeah.
Is Solo really the leader?
Gotta have that OG in the new group. But it's...
if Jacob Fatu is the leader, The Rock, if The Rock is orchestrating all this, and then you put in Jacob Fatu as the leader, say Solo's kicked out. Solo goes, there's a little baby face to it. There's a lot we can go with this. Let me stay focused here, though, because I sent you this tweet earlier. I'll read it to you here. This was from at Backup Hangman. He knowledgeable wrestling fan. He said here, this is not necessarily a knock on Roman Reigns. This was tweeted on the 28th during Raw yesterday, or the other day. This is not necessarily a knock on Roman Reigns, but every time the Bloodline story gets interesting or good again, it's never because of him in particular. It's getting good again, and it's because of Yeet Man. Sami Zayn will join in soon and tie it all together and add increased depth and gravity, because that's what he does. That's his Mick Foley gene. Now, look.
You could call...
He's right about the Mick Foley part.
That he's our generation's Mick Foley, so it seems.
But you said in response...
Minus the world titles.
When we talked off air, you said, when I sent you this tweet, that Roman Reigns is what?
I said it before, too. He's the sun, right? You miss him when he's gone and not as hot, like in the winter. You miss the sun, you miss summer, you miss being able to have fun and how great it feels to be outside and all that stuff. And then in the summer, you take it for granted. When he's back, when he's there every week, he's not that big a deal, and he's overrated, and he's not really the key cog in all this. He is the cog in the entire bloodline. For as long as he was the big dog and the good guy and all that stuff, for the past 4.5 years, he's been the tribal chief. He's been the reason this whole thing started. And he's the reason why everyone is doing what they're doing. You could say, oh, no, it's Sami or it's Jey or it's Jimmy. What are they arguing about? Who are they arguing about? Not each other. They're not even arguing about Solo or about any of that shit. They're arguing about one man. He is the center of the Bloodline universe, including The Rock. He is the center.
Paul Heyman as well.
He's the reason Rock came back.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, and me want to whoop your can. Like, he did the whole thing. Like, he's the reason. He's the only reason Dwayne's in the company right now. No one else stands out to have the one-on-one match. Maybe Cody now, but why? Because Cody and Roman had their thing.
Mm-hmm. And that's the whole, and the time has passed a little bit. Maybe we'll come back to it. But there was some discourse when Gunther, in a promo a couple of weeks ago, said that Cody Rhodes is our quarterback. And there were some fans that were up in arms saying, well, wait a minute. It was Roman Reigns in August of 2020 becoming the tribal chief that really turned business around. Roman is the reason why Cody is back. Perhaps. Not solely, but why Cody is elevated at the level that he is.
Well, of course he is.
Again, a whole nother conversation, but to your point about everything revolving around Roman, and I like that analogy because, yeah, I mean, you don't realize that, you're down in the dumps until it rains for the 5th day in a row, right? Like, you don't realize that holy smokes, it's snowing again.
About to get 4 consecutive weeks of Roman Reigns on television, by the way. I just want to point that out.
And that hasn't happened in a long time.
Now, granted, they did tape a few of these shows, so he's been able to kind of.
We're gonna cheat. We'll cheat.
The number is skewed, but it's still.
Yeah.
It's a nice skewer.
You got strong Roman Reigns probably until Survivor Series, and then you start him up again.
No, he'll be through because I think he's going to be at Saturday night's main event because they're marketing the fuck out of that one. It's like Bad Blood again all over.
If he's there, hell, he only takes a few weeks off.
And then Royal Rumble season,
holidays.
He'll be either involved in the Rumble or have a big match. Maybe that's where you have the big one-on-one with Solo or whoever.
But everything, to your point about this story and about everything that's going on in WWE, everything starts and stops not with the Bloodline, but starts and stops with OTC.
At least with this story, with the Bloodline story and all the spokes that have come off of it, there's been one reason why. Most things start with something, but how do they last with it? He's still involved in every single piece.
How is Jey going to interact with Roman?
Well,
on Friday.
Kind of already know that, but
how
we do.
I know.
It's so easy to find shit now. It's embarrassing. Like they had the spoilers out like 2 hours after SmackDown was done last Friday. We knew what happened. It was like, man, fucking all right. I thought they were gonna do a SmackDown live from Saudi Arabia. Is it the Raw instead?
They did before.
Maybe that was a different one. I don't know.
Yeah. So no, earlier the year I think it. No.
Oh well, maybe it was.
One of these years.
I think
last year I thought they did a live SmackDown from.
It was recent. I thought maybe it was going to happen this time, but I guess not.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love. By the way, I know Crown Jewel overall the whole concept everything sucks, but I'll be honest too. Like, hey, if some sponsor over there wants to sponsor our show and they have a ton of money,
yeah,
they'll pay for us for the whole year.
If the country of Saudi Arabia wants to sponsor our show and give us just like $1 million a year, I'm totally fine with that. I'm not gonna ask for too much. Listen, it's oil money. You got billions. I'm not worried, but
we'll do what WWE
maybe even
does
trillions.
And put it in like the other as far as financial annual statements. But
I'll claim that. That's fine.
Man,
we can pay taxes on that. I'm cool with it.
Listen.
Pete's like, fuck yeah, we can.
Listen, that's the difference between Bedford and Pepper Pike.
Pull your roll. We got to do it for a few years, save some money, then we can go live in Pepper Pike. It's expensive out there, bro.
That's very expensive.
Yeah.
You see the housing?
Orange Village. All right. Yeah, it's
man.
I'd be driving by some houses in Independence, and I'm like, I can't do that.
Man. What is the worst part of Solon? Maybe I can go there.
What's the worst part of Solon? Underneath the bridge.
Yes. Yes.
Pete's like, I'm from the other side of the tracks, bitch.
Hey.
ABC streets.
He was like,
I was pulling on the street before doing their ABCs on the sidewalk.
They're like, where are you from? From Solon. Which part of Solon? Solon Boulevard. Like, where? Under the bridge. That's Bedford.
Damn. Under the bridge.
I know, man. You can't. No, that doesn't count. You can't be there.
This is wild.
This whole story is.
This is wild, Samoan.
And the crazy thing, like with SmackDown, even whatever. It's like anytime with Bloodline, like it's like you said, it's the whole Bloodline story.
Yeah.
And it's all almost want to say it's separate from the rest of the show, because the rest of the show can suck.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does.
Like
but,
Monday was a good example of it. Like we knew what the main story was being told throughout the show with them, but we had little interweaving, like it's almost like little like breaks of other side stories, and it's exactly what it is. There's different stories going on, but like we had like little peaks and valleys, like the Judgment Day stuff. Even though I know you're not a fan, that kind of thing. Like it was with a purpose.
I do love though the few moments when the Bloodline has storylines with other members of the roster.
Yeah.
So when the Motor City Machine Guns, when they won the championship, I loved, Solo and their crew coming out.
It legitimizes them too.
It's great.
Because if you're kind of like me and you've never seen them before, essentially, like I haven't watched too much of the TNA, but
like
a lot of TNA,
classic TNA.
Yeah, like old school TNA.
AJ Styles
like
TNA.
Your favorite tag team's favorite tag team, which is fucking just a ridiculous line. But I mean, like I get it.
It's a true statement. But,
okay.
But to your point, establishing who they are. I loved the whole introduction of them. And
we'll talk more about that.
Yeah,
too.
I loved all of that.
Yeah.
So
hug me, brother. Hug me real tight from behind.
It is late October.
Pete's like, stop talking about my personal relationships with my family.
It is late October, and Rhea Ripley is still feuding. I know it's Raquel Rodriguez. I know it's a different member, but it's still a Judgment Day storyline.
Well, the problem is, like,
and then
who else is she?
And then Damian Priest, and I understand. I'll give it a little bit of a pass. It was presented as kind of a spot duty kind of deal.
Well, I actually have a take on this, but
I didn't like that either.
Okay,
because they could have put if Dominic Mysterio, if you wanted to give Dominic Mysterio, that whole story of legitimizing himself, proving himself to be a serious contender that even the Judgment Day wants to believe in, you're facing the former world champion. Have him face Sheamus, because Sheamus wouldn't, Sheamus wouldn't lose anything. Like, Sheamus is where he's at. That's it. If he loses, he loses.
Yeah.
And you can still do the whole run-in with the Judgment Day. You can still do whatever you want. But it's just like, Priest, like, come on. And then Rhea. I said going into Bad Blood, that was the last pay-per-view. Going into Bad Blood, I'm like, this needs to be it with Judgment Day feuding with Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. And I understand with Priest, they kind of started like, hey, everything's good now. Worry about getting the world championship. But with Rhea, it's like, I want to cheer. And Rhea Ripley, the character, you're going to cheer. But at the same time, maybe the face run is not clicking too much, because it's like, your entire premise of the turn is because your asshole boyfriend dropped you. And you are retaliating against your a-hole boyfriend. And you already had him in a shark tank, in a shark cage. And all of a sudden, it's still a problem that the asshole boyfriend is still, making fun of you. Like, move on. I think
you're missing the bigger picture with this. With Raquel, it's because of their personal issues, whatever. They actually have a story there. But this wasn't even just about all Dom. It was about the championship. At the end of the day, Liv is still the women's world heavyweight or world champion. So Rhea Ripley is going to be judged based on championships because she's that good, right? She's been over forever. She's arguably the most popular female wrestler on the planet, and talented too at that, right? She's good at what she does. There's not really another person on the show that's being positioned to be worthy of a feud with Rhea. You could argue she could try and lift some people up, but it's not fair. And Damian's the same way, because he's already made it known he wants a world championship. Dom's also going for the same title. They're bound to run into each other because they have history. And unless you take these people and put them on a different show, they're going to always be tied together. Especially because they have the same goals. Liv is champion. Rhea wants to be champion. Dom wants to be world champion. Damian wants to be world champion. It's almost like, okay, it kind of tells itself. I get wanting them to separate, and they're not technically, like, Rhea and Liv aren't technically feuding right now. It's Rhea and Raquel. just like Priest and Dom technically aren't feuding, but they have the same goal. And i.e., if we have the same goal in the same spot, it's not like Damian's going after Cody. He's going after Gunther. Dom's going after Gunther. It's like, okay, we're both going for the same person. Who's going to get there first? I kind of have to whoop your ass again because A, I just enjoy it, and B, I need to get there. So I get like not having a main story, and I don't think they are having a main story with those four. But Raquel and Rhea, that's actually a pretty good thing, and that can honestly help Raquel get over a little more too. And then on Dom and Priest side, it's like, hey, who's going to challenge Gunther next? Okay, we have to kind of go through this. Punk is also another name that's going to pop up after. And also because Crown Jewel kind of fucks everything up because there's no title matches at Crown Jewel. So
the Crown Jewel factor is interesting.
It puts a weird little space on this.
It's like, honestly, it's playing out like Survivor Series used to play out in the Vince McMahon era, which is, we have a continuous we have stories. We have to pause everything.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden the brands care about each other and
you're not getting forward movement because we're kind of in a standstill right now.
And it's the same with Liv because she's going to have a face-off with Nia Jax. And it's like, okay, now you have
another match I don't really want to see, but that's fine.
You have two hated heels going at it. It's like, who cares who wins?
They're making Saudi Arabia like a WrestleMania, essentially, so that's why they're doing this. I understand it. But it also frees up a Survivor Series to feel...
Survivor Series is going to be big time. Like, once we come on the air this time next week, we're in the driver's seat now for a pay-per-view that's going to be, all right, we're off to the races.
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. Let me get to this. By the way, great shot of Rhea Ripley, of course. Let me get to this real quick before we break. We know more of the details about Samantha Irvin and why she left. It was on her own accord, and it was, she wanted to do other things in WWE, but she's the all-time GOAT in announcing, and she was going to be locked in that role basically forever.
She didn't want to do it.
And she hated announcing.
Which, it's always funny to me to watch people that are so great at something. I know a couple of these people that are great at one thing, but they just don't like it. They find no joy in it. Like, they can present in the moment, but, like, they, like, go home and they're like, man, I hate this. Like, it's crazy to think about. And, like, she's obviously going to do her singing thing, and I hope that takes off for her. But, like, yeah. I mean, it's wild.
I wanted to address the reaction, though.
There's a lot of hate.
Yeah, there's a ton of fans.
I told you.
There's a decent... you had a circle of fans who didn't like her from the start. That's what they put that aside. And maybe they're the ones speaking out. But you got the fans there. You got certain fans who are saying, why, you're great in this. Why did you leave this row? You locked in. Why would you leave? Kyle, you're talking to somebody right now who a year ago left a great job, who left a great position that is worth fighting for, and I was this is a much smaller scope than what she did, obviously. But
same pay, but different, yeah.
But it's still paid. It's still, like we went to Ohio Media School, obviously, to do what we do. We are fortunate to call football games on Fridays. We're fortunate to do basketball. You've done news for years. I've done sports. We've done it all to this point, and there's more to do. But I think people missed that last line that I just said, that there's more to do. I felt like I was really good at what I did as far as a producer at The Fan. And I worked with great people and on a great show at a great station. But here's the deal, and I'm being serious about this. I did not come in this wanting to be a producer forever, because you could easily be locked in that role for a long time.
It's for Double A airs his dirty laundry. Usually it's my fault. All right, here we go. This is great.
No, you could be in that. You could be in that role forever. And there was another opening that popped up with my day job, of course, and I pursued that. But here's the thing: if I was still working at that station in that row, I'm probably not doing this show. Because it's not just, hey, you go on the air, you talk, and then you go home and you call it a day. No, there's actually, putting the show together. It's, post-production. It's a whole bunch of other stuff. Booking guests, doing other stuff, meeting EC3, meeting a bunch, different people and whatnot. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir, brother.
I'm not doing that. Maybe Kyle is, but I'm not. With football, we do pregame shows now. I would have no time to put together a pregame show if I was working where I was working before. And I wanted to be an on-air talent. So that's not to say, oh, well, you shouldn't be. You can't be, but I have to look at the landscape. Like Ken Carmen is in his 30s. Nick Wilson in his 30s. Jonathan Peterlin in his 30s. Anthony Lyman, early 40s.
I got one for you. Anthony Alford in his 30s.
Yeah. Chances are they're going to have those jobs for a long, long time.
Unless they turn into me.
So
then you're fucked, buddy.
Oh, yeah. You're screwed. So, again.
Whoopsie doopsie. Didn't mean to say it.
So I guess the whole point is, with Samantha, for people to say, oh, you should be locked into one job and call it a day. Oh, is it the right of the fan to say one person should, I don't know, rot in their job until they're in their 60s?
No, I think we all were under the assumption she loved her job and that she was happy with it. But now that she's clarified that, okay, well then obviously do what makes you feel happy. And I think she was looking to expand that role. Like, hey, could I be a manager? Could I be on screen? Could I do some stuff behind the scenes, backstage, whatever? And they kind of just had this only carved out for her. Mm-hmm. And she looked at her life and she's like, my husband does work for the other company and makes millions of dollars now. If there's ever a time where I can go try and, find some more avenues, maybe this is it. So, I mean, more power to her.
And again, more power to her. I just want people to understand, now, don't leave a job if you have nothing lined up. If you have nothing lined up.
Well, for all we know with her, she doesn't have, this. This is all just kind of starting off of, she's had thoughts about it for about a year or so, whatever it was. But, I mean, if you have a base like that where yeah, okay, my husband does make a lot of money.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
have a platform to stand on. Don't go out there on the ocean with, just a pair of flippers on and hope to God that you can make it all the way across. You want to make sure you have something.
You need to be set. And Samantha is set. So I just wanted to
build that boat, people.
I just wanted to get that
Then
straight.
You can sail away.
Coming up, finally, we're gonna fix Austin Theory.
Not that watch though. That's fresh. But we're gonna fix that.
And rapid fire coming up as well.
Yes. Pew pew.
But first, here's
Motor
a word
City.
from
Pew pew.
Here's a word from our sponsors.
Yeah, we're getting into the Halloween season, and you know what we're really known for? We carry everything, so you can get the boring Reese's Cups and Snickers bars. And I don't mean to say that they're boring, but they're available absolutely everywhere, including here. But what our customers shop us for is all that specialty stuff. So let's say they're in a neighborhood and they get 100 kids for Halloween night, but they got the 4 neighbors down kids that they absolutely love, so they get something really special, and that's where we really shine, because we've got over 5,000 different items in the store. And about 600,000 pounds now.
What should fans who might be watching you here in Cleveland for the first time, they look you up on the website, on the app, they call you, what should they expect?
Yeah, I mean, first off, between me and my team, you're going to get one of us. If you want to deal directly with the man, you're more than welcome to. I don't mind. I love working with customers because I look at it this way. I have a lot of good life experience financially. I've said 12 years of banking. I've got now 2.5 years of insurance. I have a lot of money and just kind of life and financial stuff knowledge. So that's what I look to do, is to truly help people get from that point A to point B financially. It's not about just, saving money on auto insurance, sure, but if I can kind of turn that into a better discussion, really help people understand what actually insurance does, why it's important, because it's not a tangible. I joke when I leave that I lock the office door so no one steals all the insurance, but there's not just insurance laying around. So there's just it's kind of a mystery kind of component in people's lives that they think is a scam and all the different things you hear. It's not. It can feel like it sometimes. I'm not even going to be say that it doesn't, but if you understand how it works and understand and have a person who you can go to help with those kind of situations, that's what we're here to do. That's what my team's here to do. That's what I'm here to do. And that's what I take a lot of pride and have a lot of passion in, obviously, as you can probably tell. So,
Well, I mean, I know you said the joke, hey, we lock the door so no one steals the insurance, but it's exactly right.
What my guy right there, Mike from State Farm, he could tell a story. He was just texting us a little bit ago.
Oh, my goodness.
He could definitely tell a story. But he handles business in the ring, which that might be coming up very shortly. Excess Pro coming up on November 16th, but also with your insurance, auto insurance, life insurance. You see all the stuff he does there on the side of the screen there during the interview. All of that is covered with Mike from State Farm, one of our newest sponsor. And what's cool about it, Kyle, if you have a State Farm app, you can just type up his name, just his name.
Yeah.
And his information pulls right up. And if you have a quote that you're looking for a quote right there, you can pull it up.
He's obviously based in Cleveland Heights, but you don't have to be like around or live in Cleveland Heights. You could be any suburb, of course, in Northeast Ohio. You could be watching the show from, I don't know, Azerbaijan, and you want to find a way to get State Farm insurance. I don't know if they have State Farm in Azerbaijan, but that's a terrible example. But nevertheless,
if you're not geo-blocked, you can pull it up.
Yeah. If you feel like using a NordVPN or something like that and want to, find a way to get in touch, I mean, you could do that. But nevertheless, I mean, Mike's obviously got your back. Northeast Ohio is his specialty, but I mean, let's be honest. It's State Farm. You know what he can bring to the table, and having that personal touch that Mike brings to the table is worth hey, I live in Westlake, but I kind of want to know what Mike's all about here and what he can do for me. You can still do that. It's not just a geography thing with that. You can definitely reach out, and Mike's there for you. I know that he's obviously helped us too when it comes to giving us advice on things, and we're kind of lucky because we're friends with him, so we get some free stuff too. But that's beside the point. I mean, he's honestly a great guy, and he's able to work through a lot of those things. We talk about the different things like your home, like your car. Obviously, life insurance is huge. We talk about your family and what you can really do for you in that aspect, because kind of like around our age, we don't think about that too much, and he's able to stamp us back out of it a little bit and obviously make it fun and enjoyable too, while making sure he's taking care of those really serious needs. Having that balance in your agent is something that I've really enjoyed. So,
and sometimes with these services, you have people, even when you sign up with them, that you don't feel comfortable talking. It's just the chemistry's not there.
Yeah.
The chemistry's
it feels
not
like
there.
a chore calling your agent. You're like, man, I don't want to do this. You're already going to be dealing with maybe something you're not exactly too happy about. I mean, you're like, oh, great, I had this happen to my car, or something happened to my house, or God forbid something happened with my family and we had to get life insurance involved, whatever it is. To have someone is really there for you that will take it seriously, but also try to make it as enjoyable as he can, and really try to relate to you and have that kind of experience where, yeah, it's not the best thing to have to make this phone call right now, but at least I know the guy on the other end is really there for me and he cares. He's going to be genuine. He's going to be personable, and he's going to make this as good as we can and just try to, obviously make me feel better on the other side of this situation. Whatever that case may be, that's what Mike's there for you.
Mike from State Farm, he is located in Cleveland Heights, Lee Boulevard, the corner of Lee and Mayfield, right in the same building as Starbucks. And if you want to give him a call, 216-932-6900. That's 216-932-6900 is the phone number you can find him.
And for all the audio people, too, if you want to look him up on his website, myfavoriteagent.com. He did that on purpose. It's my and then favorite, F-A-B-E-R-T, agent.com. Of course, you can find out all the information about him. You can even request a quote online. Simple as that.
Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. Also, take a few minutes, go back and listen to or watch the episode that he was with us.
Yeah.
Because this dude knows, obviously he knows insurance. He knows his wrestling. He knows all the storytelling and stuff, all the science. Of course, childhood friends with EC3, the president, owner of Exodus Pro Wrestling, here the local NWA charter affiliate right here in Cleveland. In fact, their next show coming up, wow. Not just less than a month from now, but within weeks.
Yeah.
November 16th, Saturday, November 16th, doors open at 5:05.
Tell you what, time flies when you're doing a wrestling podcast. It was January, like 5 minutes ago.
I know, crazy. Oh my God, we got to talk. But yeah, 6:05. The doors will open there. we might be working some things, see what happens. Of
Yeah,
course.
5:05 is when things are going to open up. Bell's at 6:05. That's a special time. EC3 explained that obviously the last time he was on the
He
show. If
did.
you guys want to make sure after you watch this to go back and catch up a little bit on that. And he's feeling a little bit lighter going into this match, maybe about 10 pounds lighter. We'll see if they can change
Crazy.
that. So we'll see what happens.
Crazy stuff. But again, their last show was back in August,
Yeah.
late August, Journey 2. Of course, you watch that on YouTube, but definitely check it out.
This show also going to be streaming on the NWA YouTube as well.
Just found out,
Yeah.
literally within moments of us coming during the commercial, just found out they had an announcement that Trevor Murdoch will be debuting in Exodus Pro Wrestling on this show, Usual Suspects.
How about that? Former
So-
NWA champion.
NWA champion.
Obviously WWE was a wrestler there for a while.
Man, so it's going to be great. A lot of great talent, a lot of stuff. We'll talk more about this show as the weeks go on. You know who else is going to be on that show? That guy in the middle, Mike from State Farm.
He issued an open challenge. Is someone going to
Challenge.
accept it?
Open challenge. Let's go. Let's get it. He's been training, by the way, in wrestling. So he's been splitting time between insurance and wrestling since May.
Honestly,
Wow.
when I see him, I get sore.
I
But
know.
I know that he is able to do both at such a high level, and I think he actually just finished up 6 months of training over there. So
Yes, he did.
yeah, so he's excited, obviously. Or I think it was a 24-week program that they had to kind of work through, and I feel like he's ready, man. Now it just depends. Is someone going to answer that challenge? We're excited. We're some things working through, maybe to get some answers leading up to it. What could be
Yeah.
what this card fully looks like? But we're excited for the show. We're both going to be there. Obviously, it's going to be a great night. So
Pete, you going? Usual Suspects. Pete will be there.
if he's like,
Pete will be there Saturday, November 16th. Cannot wait. It was a great time. Journey 2. It was phenomenal.
whoa.
We needed a graphic. We've waited months.
Wow, that was a transition.
We waited.
Pete's dizzy now.
We've waited 84 long years.
Which is crazy because this podcast has only been alive for about 10 months.
That's right.
No, not even.
To
like nine.
fix this guy. It is the return of the Let's Fix It series. Austin Theory is the Fix It God, I can't talk anymore. Subject.
I have an Austin Theory that I can change Austin Theory.
You know, it's the second week in a row that I've. It didn't happen.
Stop
here.
watching Tamatonga.
It did not happen on the show. It happened on our CVC broadcast.
Fucking hyena.
I was making a point. I was making a point. It's like running back has to do.
Thought I was doing a broadcast of Porky Pig. It was great. That's all,
Man,
folks.
I'm like, what happened? I'm like, what's going on? But Austin Theory. Why Austin Theory?
Why not? I mean, this guy's. We talk about, and I know you don't like the pillar talk, but like a guy that's under 30, has all the talent in the world, but just feels like something hasn't clicked. And I don't want this to be a Drew McIntyre thing where he has to go away for like 5 years, 7 years, whatever it is, and have to come back to WWE. I want them to be able to find a way to get this guy over now so he turns into like that next Randy Orton, that next I was there for 25 years guy, because he has that potential, but it's just not clicking yet.
But the path is somewhat similar. Somewhat. Drew McIntyre was the chosen one, coined by
fuck.
Vince.
He actually was Vince's chosen one.
The chosen one.
God, don't do
Austin
this to me.
Theory. Vince McMahon's chosen one.
The difference is, so Theory actually did start in independence. Remember, Evolve, even before that he was working independent. So he has some of that experience already. So that leads me to believe he could be fixed here.
Roman Reigns had the classic line, like your pops ain't here anymore. Had that line.
Damn.
And then he's been with the tag team with Grayson Waller. But it's always felt like the tag team's done a fine job. It's
I'm
not like
glad you brought that up
Mm.
because that is one of the key things that could really turn Austin Theory from tag team guy, presentable, to possible upper mid to main event talent. So, the first thing to do is to get him the fuck away from Grayson Waller. Yeah, that's the thing. Great idea. I remember we talked about this back earlier in the year. I said, hey, both these guys aren't really doing much. It felt like Grayson had maybe more of a launching pad per se, but put them together. It made sense. Personalities were the same, that kind of stuff. Now it's time to split this shit, and it's time for Grayson to snap. I think it's been like kind of teased Austin Theory having some pure thoughts. You know, even when it started with the way with Johnny Gargano and all that stuff, like, hey, he's using you. All that
So
kind of
you
thing.
want Grayson to turn heel here?
I want Grayson to like injure Austin Theory. It's about sympathy, and I understand like, hey, this is not a Cody Rhodes situation, but when Cody tore his pec and wrestled, I mean, people were like, holy shit.
Still one of the all-time moments here in this era.
One of the most gross visuals, but one of the biggest things that made Cody even more popular than he was before that. Like, this is Austin's chance to like, hey, take him out. And it gives Grayson a platform too, because I think they think highly of Grayson Waller as well. So giving him a chance to really full-on turn heel, and not like the silly game show heel, like no, I'm going to fucking hurt you heel, because both these guys obviously have good size too, and I can believe they could kick someone's ass.
Right.
So when presented properly, this is a chance for Grayson to be a true heel. Maybe he gets a feud with LA Knight again out of that. He gets a U.S. title opportunity, whatever it is, and it puts Theory on the shelf for a little while.
Well, you mean you don't want that to interrupt the best of 13 series?
No, I'm all set. I'm all set. I think Melo's going to be great. I think Andrade has potential too. We're obviously this is the Sheamus, Cesaro treatment, where they're eventually going to tag and maybe win tag gold at some point or whatever. But, I mean, that's neither here nor there. I think that's what you do first with Austin. Now, that's where you slowly start to bring him back. We're already going into November. So maybe this is all too soon. Maybe you wait till post-WrestleMania, whatever it is. If you want a hot feud through the summer with Austin, you can push the timeline back maybe a little bit. But I'm trying to gear this up towards having it lead to WrestleMania, and then the immediate pay-per-views after that kind of being huge. But I'd say for this purpose, slowly start to bring him back. Maybe some vignettes, some teases, that kind of stuff. I'm not saying why it's 6 level stuff, but like who is this person, whatever it is. Kind of having that be a thing. Eventually, Royal Rumble comes around. Grayson Waller has built up this feud against LA Knight. Maybe he even beats LA Knight for the title at some point. Who knows? All right. Waller comes in to the Royal Rumble. He's got some momentum, whatever it is. That's when Austin Theory comes back. I wouldn't even have Austin Theory enter the Rumble. I'd have Austin Theory show up. No music, no BS, no pointing, no A-Town down, none of that bullshit. Comes back, throws Waller over, and beats the shit out of him outside the ring.
I don't even, if you go that scenario, don't even have his music play.
Exactly.
Just
nothing.
Just
beat up Waller, look around, serious. Maybe even beat him into the back, whatever it is. They can have an angle if it's kind of low in the ring where Theory does something to in the back, whatever it is, and you see the vicious side of Austin Theory. He looks like he can beat someone's ass. Beat someone's ass. Like, legit, do it. Right? That's obviously going to be a huge feud program, whatever it is. We're talking about trying to get back to Australia at some point early next year, too. That'd be fun to have Waller and that dynamic and all that, too. But it leads to a match at WrestleMania. And I actually have Stone Cold in Austin Theory's corner. Well, son, I like the way you handle your business now. It seems like you kind of got some nuts on you now, kid. Yeah, hell yeah, brother. Like, that kind of thing. Like,
right.
Like Austin Theory comes back and is basically not Stone Cold, but has the mindset of, listen, I came in here before and I was thinking I was hot shit, all that stuff. I'm done with all that. I'm just here to whoop your ass. You cost me months out of my career. I could have been U.S. champ again. I could have done this thing. I could have worked my way up the ladder. You held me back when we were a tag team. After we won our championships, we lost them. You held me back then. And you held me back, obviously, from wanting to achieve my goals. And you took me out of commission. So I'm here to fuck you up. Like, I'm here to kick your ass. And Stone Cold gets on board with that. It's Las Vegas. He's going to be part of the show anyway, I would imagine, at some point.
I have thoughts on that, but I like where you're going with this stuff.
If Stone Cold's not going to be in a match, it'd be kind of cool. Plus, he could stunner Waller. It could be a whole thing, whatever. That's kind of cool. I think also Stone Cold and Austin Theory had a run-in at some point. But maybe.
I think they did.
Yeah.
They did.
So there's time. I see you come a long way, kid. I like what I see. Let's have a beer.
Waller's good enough on the microphone where if those two are interacting, him and Stone Cold, you're going to want to see Waller get his behind kicked.
Exactly.
You're going to want to see that.
Exactly. And you could pull in another legend, too, if you want, because it's legend season in WWE again. So someone that would be against Stone Cold that's behind Grayson Waller, you could probably figure that out. I don't know.
Okay, so, yeah, my only thing would be...
Make it bigger.
How would you sell Stone Cold on this angle?
I think just seeing the demeanor change. Stone Cold wants to be a part of WrestleMania. He missed last year. He felt bad about that. Hey, man, things didn't work out, whatever it is, but I see someone who's caught my eye. I see someone who's done something real special. Raw's on Netflix. Maybe he shows up on a Raw, whatever it is, because he can move guys around now. It doesn't matter. Theory, he calls out Theory, whatever it is. They have a thing. Even if it's special guest referee, whatever it is, who cares? Involved somehow, but eventually ends up in Theory's corner. Excited to see him win, whatever it is. That
so
obviously,
I would assume that Austin Theory, you're not doing all this for Grayson Waller to beat Austin Theory.
no, Theory wins.
WrestleMania.
Theory wins, and
Yeah.
I think that a different side of Austin Theory,
Mhm.
not the let's lean more into the heel, not the okay, he's kind of a good goofy guy with like the way. It's
No,
like
this guy is serious.
serious.
He's locked in.
He's not wearing the dumb shit. Like he's
Yeah.
not doesn't have the attitude anymore. He's just straightforward serious. Because when he's serious, it's when we've enjoyed him the most. He had
Mhm.
like brief little stints here or there, but I want to see him fully lean into that. That leads to Money in the Bank. This is probably one of the biggest things that Austin Theory did that so many people hated and criticized. He won the Money in the Bank the first time, handed it to eventually by Vince, right? Put in that match when he wasn't supposed to be, whatever it was. This time he earns his way in, and he wins it. But he does something different. Last time he cashed in on a mid-card championship after a bunch of failed attempts. This is different, Austin Theory. This is Smash Mouth Austin Theory. This is I'm taking shit seriously. I'm not going to wait.
Now, we didn't put this on the PowerPoint, but Kyle does have this, so pay attention here.
So this is legit. After he wins the Money in the Bank, this is around King of the Ring time too, right? This is obviously that I think King of the Ring will be in May. This is now a June event, Money in the Bank, beginning of June. So there he calls a shot. He wins Money in the Bank. Whoever the King of the Ring is not facing for the title at SummerSlam, whatever title it is, whether it be at the World Heavyweight title or the WWE Championship, I'm going to say World Heavyweight title is free at that point because whoever wins the WWE Championship, they're going to be on SmackDown, whatever it is. Theory comes out. There's no bling on the briefcase. There's no bullshit. There's no pomp and circumstance. He's like, this is my ticket to redemption. This is not my ticket to sit around and wait 10 months to lose a mid-card championship. Address your failure. Be honest with yourself. I fucked up before. I know what I did wrong. We're going to fix that. Call out the World Heavyweight Champion. This, me, you, SummerSlam, New York. It's 2 nights. First time ever. 2 nights. We're going to make it real special. I'm cashing this in.
Imagine if that's, say... Oh, okay, here's my question.
Could it be Punk?
Would it have to be a heel world champion?
Could be Gunther.
So,
Could
okay.
be Punk. Could be...
Could
Punk
be-
Punk can work in multiple ways because that'd be...
Punk could be anybody.
they're
Let's say if it's Seth Rollins.
I think it could work. The history.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like, you changed, man. You're looking kind of different. Ooh, Austin
when
Theory
Seth
looking...
Rollins takes off his one jacket and he's still wearing another
That was
jacket?
wild, by the way. Same fucking jacket.
Same color,
Twice.
same jacket. This is the dumbest thing
It
I've
was
ever seen.
unbelievable. Fashion statement, yeah. Bravo. But, I mean, that could be a thing. You never know. I mean, so that's my thought with that is like, hey, that's a title. Also, it makes sense for Theory to go after that title more, I think. But, and then having that World Championship match at SummerSlam, you were able to build a proper feud, 7 weeks, whatever it is, have that kind of build up to where you really explain and show how much he's grown and where it's not this is a fun thing, whatever it is. Like, no, the world champion could be Dom at that point. We don't fucking know what's going to happen with that world title at some point. But, I mean, you have
I'm
the
not against
seriousness
that, by the way, but go ahead.
at this point. But then he wins at not WrestleMania, but at SummerSlam. It could be the night 1 main event, whatever it is, because night 2 will probably be reserved for the WWE Championship.
Bloodline.
Yeah. But then
Civil War 20.
he wins the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam, the Monday Night Raw after he comes out, and he says thank you. And he's like, I'm not here to make y'all emotional. I'm not here because this is all about business, and I've been on business ever since I came back in January when I took out Grayson, when I made my mark on this business. But I want to say thank you to the fans that actually believed in me through this process and didn't give up. Because I could have been like a Drew McIntyre. I could have went out and rolled the indies and like honed my craft, but I've been there before. I've done that. I'm here now. And I went through what I went through to get to this moment. And you all stayed. You could have left. You could have not gave a shit. Like I love characters that actually are very self-aware of what the perception is about them. Jey Uso is big on that. Like there's certain,
That's the entirety of his character.
just
That's
being,
why he's old. That's why he's
being
the number
aware
one
of what
babyface.
people think of you and being able to lean into it and embrace it. He can lean into the fact that he was disdained. There's people basically saying, "Go away." Like, you have all these things, but you don't have it. Like, people said, I didn't have this. They said I couldn't get this. You know, it feels good to prove those people wrong, but it feels even better to validate the people that stuck with me despite the bullshit. But now it's time to get to work. Like
All
that
right,
kind
let
of
me
thing.
break this down a little bit. I love probably 95% of this. I think 95%
Good,
of
because
this.
it took me like 5 months to put it together.
I know. Like, man, can we curve the grades like a 97% of today?
It's
So
been a
you gotta
while.
be
97%. What kind of
So you gotta
fucking
be.
Rudy Poo private school grading system is this? You
This is
got a C minus.
minus. First of all, every great turn starts with a classic injury angle. And every great turn starts with you getting your ass kicked and being sent home for a few
Go
weeks.
away. Just go.
It's go away. And to your point about Grayson Waller, if you really, really break it down, it's been building for months. It's not like, oh, Grayson Waller hasn't been stepping on Austin Theory's toes all this time, hasn't been speaking up for Austin Theory all this time, hasn't been using Austin Theory all this time.
Show's only
and
2
has
hours.
held back Austin Theory all this time.
Show's only 2 hours. You can afford to have Theory off of TV for a few months
Mhm.
and like have Waller be rubbing it in every week. Like, hey, remember when I took out Austin Theory?
And again, I stress this because this will help Grayson Waller too. I stress this more time and time again. The more depth you can get to SmackDown in that mid card, the better. That's even for Grayson Waller's standpoint.
Yep.
This is a win too, like for that, because he has the mic skills and all.
He'd be
that.
in a WrestleMania feud.
Yeah,
He would have his own match on a WrestleMania card, a one-on-one match against someone who he has chemistry with. So I mean, I think
love. You know, returning in January. Even if you didn't do video packages and you just had Theory return
Just pop
the
up.
way that you described it, loved it. No music, no nothing, just pop up. You know, there's a spot in the Rumble where Grayson is gonna, you know, probably in the, you know, mid, you know, the 15, 16 spot.
you could even
mark.
have Grayson like if you want to make this feel huge, depending on what the run Grayson's been on at that point,
Mhm.
he could be in the Final Four. And to have Theory cost them that because it really means something. Like Grayson was that close. Like
Could.
he was one of the last guys in there.
As ridiculous as that sounds right now in late October, if you get him hot enough by late January, February 1st, Final Four, wild card,
If he ends up being the U.S. champ.
That's credibility.
That's a way. And Theory could cost him the title throughout
Mhm.
some of that too, where it's like, because I don't think this needs to be a title match. This should be like the whole CM Punk, Seth Rollins doesn't need to have a title with
Correct.
it. It'd be nice if it did. That's the difference between being a main event and a show opener.
correct.
But like this is one of those things where it could be the third or fourth match on the card, and you're still going to be like, nice.
The only part I disagree or am questioning, can you make this happen? It's the Stone Cold component, but you just say a legend of any Hall of Famer.
I think if you're trying to find a way to get him on the show,
You know
and
who
you
I-
can't
you
think
know-
of,
You know who I like in that role though? If you can't talk Stone Cold into it, I like Mick Foley in that role. I like Mick Foley.
I think
Because Mick Foley, a little bit of the underdog kind of deal. There, my only thing would be, can you get Stone Cold to get on this show? And then we wanted Stone Cold in that whole Bloodline Civil War match last year.
because of The Rock.
So you figure if The Rock is involved, you know, with WrestleMania, you know, with the main event, Dave Meltzer this year, then if Stone Cold is on the card, would it be a little bit of a disappointment if he's not involved in an angle in The Rock's match?
I think it really depends because last year it was built up to like, hey, Bloodline rules.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna see all these people return. We can't wait. We had an idea. Like with this one, it could be a little different depending on what the framework is of it. I'm not like
Right,
hell
I'm
bent
not-
on Stone Cold,
again,
but like
I'm-
I thought because it would give him the
No, no, no.
ultimate, like hey.
Kyle, I'm not knocking the premise. I love the premise.
Oh, I don't think you were.
And I think it's just the logistics stuff. But the Money in the Bank part, absolutely love. There, and the one element I want to add to all this, and then the World Heavyweight Championship, love it. The one element I want to add with Austin Theory, I want him to be. It's almost like the angel and the devil. I want him to be booked to which there are situations where he could go back to his old self.
He could cheat. He could find ways to
He could
cut corners.
He could cut corners.
But he almost like talks himself out of it.
And then he says no. And then remember what made Jey Uso's singles run successful was that when he went over to Raw, he wasn't, it wasn't a situation where, oh, he's a great guy. He had to earn back that trust. And I like that self-reflection part. I like the idea of, can the baby faces on the roster, can you actually trust them?
I see for some reason that visual of him like walking backstage, and some of the people he's like fucked up over time. Like maybe even like Rey Mysterio or some of they just look at him and just go like one of those things. They just see what he's been doing and they're like, oh, okay, shit. Because he's not going around asking people for favors. He's been getting beaten down by Waller. Maybe Waller has a couple guys that are with him at some point or whatever it is too. I mean, he's been like just like putting in work, and people are like,
yeah, I
oh,
want him
shit.
to be in situations where he could take it easy. He could join the Final Testament. He could, but he says no, and he at various points takes a beating for not taking it, not cutting corners, for not joining the Final Testament. By the way, another one of our success stories in the Let's Fix It series. I will say on the WWE side of things, I think Austin Theory, if they go down your path, will be very, very successful in 2025.
He's so young. Like there's so much you can do with this guy, and it doesn't have to be like we have to wait 5 years. Like, I mean, you can do it now and build that next guy. Like, I know we talk about obviously Braun Breaker and we talk about Carmelo Hayes. There's no reason why Theory can't be in that group. He's their age.
You want a great guy. You want a great guy in there. We'll have to see him revisit a match with John Cena. Maybe it may not happen, and it may not make sense.
But can you imagine this version of Austin Theory that I'm pitching, like towards the second half of the year next year? Even Cena's like, can't believe it, kid. You finally figured it out. Holy shit! Look at you, World Heavyweight Champion Austin Theory. Okay, yeah.
That would be amazing.
Remember when I told you weren't shit a couple of years ago? I'm glad you finally saw yourself in the mirror.
Let me add bullet point 6 then. Austin Theory wins the championship. Guess who comes back around? Grayson Waller. Hey, I always knew you could do it. Always knew you could be that guy.
And he just hits him.
Just decks him.
Just knocks him the fuck out.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay. Sure.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, let's get after it here with rapid fire. Of course. So you didn't know much about Motor City Machine Guns.
I didn't know who they were.
What do you think so far of their presentation?
I still don't know who they are.
I think that's an interesting thing. So
also, why I get why the Bloodline lost the tag titles. I think now we're getting a little too jumpy with like flipping shit left and right. But they want the Bloodline to have their own thing so the titles get a proper spotlight outside of that group. So I understand it. I didn't agree with Jey losing the IC title. Didn't necessarily agree with the Bloodline losing the tag titles either. But yeah, I wanted more. I got a couple of vignettes. I had WWE social media spoiling it that they were debuting. So it wasn't even a surprise. Entrance is cool. That's great. But I don't really know a lot about them. So it would have been nice to get the debut. Hey, it's great. But the championship match doesn't happen on a random SmackDown. I get, again, trying to make sure hey, anything can happen. But building it up.
I like what they have done so far. But it could go sour if they don't do more to introduce the audience who has not who did not watch TNA.
And wasn't Shelley at one point like fighting for the TNA World Championship? Like he was like on a different level.
I think they were both world champ. I think at some point. I don't
Saban,
remember.
yeah, like a while ago. And then
Chris Saban, I remember him as the world champion.
I think Shelley was recent, like where he was like
Mhm.
either the champion or he was close.
I
Like,
think I will say this, and again, this is somebody who watched the Motor City Machine Guns years ago. Until they introduced themselves, I was doing an exercise trying to figure out which one is which. Now,
wow.
I was. I had to. I'm like, I'm not 100% sure because at first they really didn't say who was who, and then they said Chris Saban, Alex Shelley, but it's like, okay, who's who?
Shelley's got the flippy hair.
But that's the thing of tag team wrestling. I loved their promo when they were introduced to the Bloodline. I loved it. But now that they have the championships, now that they've made this run, they need two things. Number one,
Jesus.
they need Jesus. Number two,
Everyone from Detroit needs Jesus.
number two, backstory. As we just talked about Austin Theory, as we talked about in the past with Jon Moxley and with Karrion Kross, backstory.
Lean into it. You guys have been doing this for 20 years. I mean, yeah, like fucking tell us
Why
about
did it take so long to get to WWE? Who held you back from being in WWE? You
Dixie
walked
Carter.
in the door. Yes, you walked in the door and became champions. So who held you back? You know, like use those things. Who are you as a character?
You know, it'd be really good if he wasn't hurt with them. I would have loved to see AJ Styles with those.
I know. That might have been a plan too. That might have
You
been.
never know, yeah.
That might have been something. But I would also see. I know they're gonna have a feud with like the Street Profits. We've been saying for years, turn Montez Ford, singles run or whatnot.
He's like the built to be a heel.
I know. I want to see the Street Profit. I know it failed with the Hurt Business. They try to make them heels. Try to run it back with the Street Profits as heels against this team. See what happens.
I want WrestleMania to just be a bunch of like blood feuds. I want Montez Ford versus Angela Dawkins. B-Fab on a pole match, whatever. I don't care. Like, just make it happen. Like, come on.
Here's my humbled opinion. Raw, since becoming 2 hours, this is gonna be weird the way I say this. It feels longer. Do you get? There's a.
But then I look at my watch and I'm like,
No. I'm not. I'm happy I'm happy the show ends at 10 o'clock. That's great.
yeah.
But I don't know if it's the pacing. I don't know what it is. Something just feels really off with Monday Night Raw since they've went down to 2 hours.
I hear that. I think we're just so used to it. It's been over a decade.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and it's all fluid. When they move to Netflix, there might not be a set amount of time they're on the air. They might just go until they feel like they're done.
Yeah.
Because again,
Can you imagine that too? Like we've been trying for months here or really for a year now to figure out how the Netflix format's gonna go, and it's almost like
I'd imagine they'll have something.
in the way that you just said. It's like you do your stories, and then when we're done, we're done.
I would think they'll be like, hey, we're planning on the show being 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever it is, but maybe certain days we may go longer, certain shows may go longer. You're not really sure. You just have to watch.
Mm-hmm.
If Netflix hasn't given them a parameter, like, hey, you can't go longer than 3 hours or you can only do a certain amount of time, I imagine that's stuff they've talked through and they're just waiting to announce it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I think 3 hours can work. Netflix is going to be a little more tricky because if you have the premium, you won't have any commercials. So what are they going to feed? And is it just going to be more packages, more production? I imagine the production team is like, we're going to be going to fucking work today. We were cutting we were doing all this shit a lot before. Now we're going to be like doing twice as much work. But I mean, they also are built for it because it's
Two more questions. Who's next in the women's division? Either show to emerge.
Charlotte Flair.
Yeah. It all comes back to Charlotte, doesn't it?
Oh, she's about due for a return now any moment.
It all comes back. And I was going to say, we can't say Tiffany Stratton, that she's not allowed. here, but yeah.
Interesting thought. I don't know if she'd be open to it because her husband's on Raw, but wasn't Becky Lynch taken out by Nia Jax?
I believe so.
Just saying.
People, we're trying to look at building new stars and whatnot. I'm just.
Well, so I mean, holy shit!
And again, look,
the NXT Women's Division, by the way.
I know.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Oh
All
my
your stars
God.
are on Tuesday nights.
Holy shit!
I was like 60% of the show the women's division.
Vicur and then Julia are fantastic. Roxanne and Cora. Good to see Cora Jade just healthy and like because she has a lot of talent, and she's also not bad to look at, but nevertheless. And then this new one, this Zarya, I think Delta was her name before. She looks like Beth Phoenix reincarnated, which is great. You need that kind of muscle because you look at the people that are on top of the women's division on the main roster. Rhea Ripley, now Raquel, Nia Jax, the bigger girls. You need someone that can kind of match up and be on that level. Even the mid card, the Kalani Jordans, the Lola Vices, got to see my girl Gigi Dolan come back for Halloween Havoc, which was fun. So miss her a lot, but nevertheless,
Lash, man,
Lash Legend,
man, Trick Williams, man,
he whooped that.
Man, Trick Williams doing it.
NXT's got some crazy talent.
This is why, again,
but they have a lot of options.
That mid-card title has to come on the main roster sooner than later. It has to happen.
I imagine maybe they're planning for WrestleMania. Feels like a good time because you can give them a real spotlight.
Even the Netflix Raw. Even you could do a tournament. Triple H likes tournaments.
But there needs to be two. There needs to be a women's Intercontinental Women's U.S. champion. I mean, it's very easy to do.
Yeah.
Like it's not like reinventing the wheel with this. Like it's very doable and it makes sense.
Yeah, it is because again lately it just needs to happen.
Because eventually these girls are coming up.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be like tomorrow, it may not be in a few months, but eventually you're going to have probably another 10 to 12
if
female wrestlers that are really talented.
If we still did our step up segment that we did earlier in the year, I would call out the entire women's division on the main roster on both shows. Like it's just.
I would love if they did one more of those like Survivor Series traditional matches. I know we're gonna have the War Games, we're gonna have that stuff going on, but doing like a 5v5v5 of the women's division for the 3 shows, would be so fun because that women's roster for NXT probably could take out.
It could
a lot of the other 2 rosters.
And again, I'm just thinking like Bayley had the big feud with Damage Control, and now you look, neither of them are doing anything of sorts.
Well, okay, so they have the championship match at Crown Jewel, the tag title match.
They do.
Because Dakota got hurt again.
Yeah, they do.
That's
final question before the show ends. I'm seeing a little bit of charisma here with Solo.
Oh, God.
I'm seeing a little bit. Once a month for me. I'm high on Solo, and then I come back down to earth. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Then he's back to a duo.
Yeah. Then he sucks. I don't know. It's so he didn't talk for 2 years, or no, he talked during NXT, but I didn't.
He was the Street Fighter. Yeah, that was his thing.
He didn't talk in the OG bloodline.
Now all he does is talk.
Then he has to be the Temu Roman Reigns. I saw something though last Friday, and really these last couple of weeks, when he's not involved in Roman Reigns content, when he's interacted with Motor City Machine Guns, he had that line. Guess you want to make a impact?
So stupid.
Like you see the little wink there, and then the whole paper ticket thing from a couple weeks ago. There are moments
he got ripped apart for the paper ticket.
Oh, he did. He did. It was funny as hell.
God.
But there are moments when you just like, you know what? Babyface Solo, maybe something, maybe.
Be a while.
Ain't gonna be a minute. Ain't gonna be a minute. It's gonna be a long minute, but he can do it. Again, as long as Solo takes a trip to BA Sweeties and identifies the candy, he'll be great.
Oh my God.
BA Sweeties, again, if you want to show your support to whoever you're voting for, go to BA Sweeties, get the chocolate candy bars of whichever candidate. you'll be supporting. When we're on the air next week doing this show, we probably still won't have a winner. So you can still support.
Don't fucking say that, please.
You can still support who you want.
Just get this shit over with. Not B.A. Sweetie.
But B.A. Sweeties, so all kidding aside, though, B.A. Sweeties, check them out. The candies are amazing.
Not Temu.
We got to finish the stuff we got from the remote.
We do, yeah.
Because we're loaded with chocolate. We got the sour stuff that Kyle's going to take home and and stuff. And the Cokes.
You love that souracha. What are you talking about?
Great. Love Mike from State Farm. Love him, of course. Our sponsor, our Dual Threat. We're the only show, I think we're the only podcast, radio, digital show in the country that has a sponsor with a pro wrestler / State Farm agent.
I think we do fit the bill on that.
I
don't think you're
believe
stretching
it.
the truth on that one.
Only here, LPV Productions. Only here. Of course, follow us on social media.
Like and subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
Please click the follow, click the share, click whatever you got to do. Make sure that you get our word out there. We appreciate you guys tuning in, but we know we're entertaining. You want to entertain your friends. Tell them about us. It's real simple. It's that way you know we upload. We upload content every single day.
That's right. And check out all of our shows. Of course, Voice of the Land. They got the latest, of course, on the Cavs and the Browns trying to stay afloat on things, of course.
Floating on the lake. Like the sewage.
Float. And we'll be busy with football coming this Friday with playoff football for us here locally here in Cleveland. So definitely check that out. And check us out right now where you see the big credit with executive producer. He said last week, by the way, Pete, that the name was too big.
Oh, give me a fucking break. Make it the whole screen. Double A's like, shh. Are we Alistair Blacking this?
We're done. Bye-bye.
That's what drew the line?
I wanted to make that the most awkward ending of all time.
Black.